Hope burned not like warmth but like fire. Jenna felt it surge through her as the darkness twisted violently around her, recoiling as if injured. Whispering Hollow Road didn't just resist her choice, it reacted to it. The air shook. The ground fractured, screams warped into something furious and inhuman. The road was angry. "You don't belong here anymore," the girl hissed, her form flickering like a damaged reflection. Cracks of shadow ran through her body, leaking darkness onto the collapsing ground. "You're breaking it." "I know," Jenna said, forcing herself upright despite the pain tearing through her. "That's the point." The rehook hit instantly. No one had ever fought the road with hope before. The trapped souls began to stir. At first it was subtle, a flicker of movement, a whispered name spoken with clarity instead of despair. Then figures emerged from the darkness, no longer hunched or fading, but standing straighter, more solid. Faces lifted, eyes cleared. They felt it too. The road responded with violence. The asphalt surged upward like a living wave, slamming into the figures and dragging them back down. Trees bent inward, their branches snapping and reforming into jagged shapes that lashed out blindly. Jenna screamed as shadowy tendrils wrapped around her legs, pulling her toward the center of the void. The pressure crushed against her, trying to erase her thoughts, her memories, her name. Jenna, I am Jenna. She clung to that truth desperately. Images flooded her mind, her friends laughing, the challenge, the careless confidence that brought her here. Regret sliced through her, sharp and unforgiving, but beneath it was something stronger, responsibility. "If you feed on fear," she shouted into the roaring darkness, "then choke on this." The light flared. The road shrieked. Cracks raced outward, splitting the endless stretch into fragments. Sections of Whispering Hollow collapsed into nothingness, taking screaming shadows with them. The girl staggered back, her expression no longer calm, now terrified. "This isn't how it works," she screamed. "Then it's time it changed," Jenna replied, but the road wasn't finished. A massive shape rose from the darkness beneath them, something vast and indistinct, formed from twisted metal, screaming faces, and endless asphalt. The true core of Whispering Hollow revealed itself, towering above everything else. It reached for Jenna. The trapped souls cried out as one, their voices merging into a single desperate plea. Jenna felt her strength slipping. Hope alone wasn't enough. The road wrapped around her like a closing fist, squeezing tighter, pulling her toward its heart. The last thing she saw was the girl, no longer whole, no longer powerful, reaching out with a look of desperate understanding. "If you fall," the girl whispered, "it all starts again." Jenna closed her eyes and let go. Jenna felt herself falling upward. The road vanished beneath her as darkness peeled open, revealing something vast and endless below, or above. It was impossible to tell. Screams echoed from every direction, layered so thick they blurred into one continuous sound of terror and regret. She was being pulled toward the heart of Whispering Hollow. "This is where you decide," the girl said, her grip tightening. Her voice no longer echoed. Here it was absolute. Every spirit does. Jenna's body felt lighter now, barely tethered to the memory of flesh. Her heartbeat was gone, her breath unnecessary, yet her thoughts, her fear, remained painfully human. "What choice?" Jenna demanded. The darkness shifted, forming images in the air around them. She saw the couple's car sinking into the road, the woman clawing at the door, the driver screaming her name. She saw dozens more, hundreds, each moment frozen at the exact second hope turned into horror. "Stay," the girl said, "or replace." Jenna recoiled. "Replace who?" The girl's expression finally cracked. "Me," the rehook struck like a lightning bolt. "You were human once," Jenna whispered. "Yes," the girl replied, "and I tried to fight too, but the road doesn't release what it creates. It only trades." The darkness surged, pressing closer. Jenna felt the weight of the trapped souls pulling at her, begging, pleading without words. "If you take my place," the girl continued, "the road resets. I leave. You become the warning." Jenna shook her head violently. "That just keeps it going." "Or," the girl said softly, "you refuse and everyone after you dies screaming." The couple's cries grew louder. Jenna felt something tear inside her, not flesh, but will. She had driven this road for a thrill, a dare. Now the cost of that choice pressed against her like a crushing tide. "Why me?" she asked again. The girl met her gaze. "Because you still care." The road pulsed angrily, sensing resistance. Cracks of darkness split the space around them, and Jenna felt herself slipping, losing time, losing memory. She made her decision. Jenna tore her hand free. "I won't replace you," she said, her voice steady despite the fear ripping through her. "And I won't help it feed." The road screamed. The darkness convulsed as if wounded. The images shattered. The couple's car flung violently backward onto solid ground. The woman sobbed as the driver slammed the accelerator, tires screaming as they fled the road. The girl stared at Jenna in disbelief. "You don't understand," she said. "There are rules." Jenna felt herself unraveling, pain, cold, light all at once. "Then let me break them." The road began to collapse inward, dragging everything with it, including Jenna. Her last clear thought wasn't fear, it was hope, and Whispering Hollow Road had never tasted hope before. Jenna felt herself fading. It started in her hands. The cold crept in slowly, stealing sensation from her fingers as water dripped steadily from her skin. She stared down in horror as her palms grew pale, almost translucent, veins darkening beneath the surface like cracks in ice. "No," she whispered. Her voice sounded wrong, distant, hollow, as if it echoed from somewhere far away. Panic surged through her as she tried to step back, but the road held her in place. The asphalt beneath her feet pulsed again, warm and alive, tightening its grip. The couple stood frozen by their car now, fear dawning on their faces as they took her in. They could see her. That meant she wasn't gone yet. "Please," Jenna tried to say, "don't stop." The words twisted as they left her mouth, warping into something else entirely. "Are you okay?" came out instead. Her heart dropped. The girl watched from the shadows, her expression calm, almost kind. "It's easier if you don't fight it," she said. "The road doesn't like resistance." Jenna clenched her jaw, forcing her thoughts to stay sharp. "I'm still me," she told herself. "As long as I remember who I am, it can't take everything." The couple exchanged uneasy glances. The driver reached for his phone. The road reacted instantly. The wind howled, slamming the car doors shut. The headlights flickered violently, plunging the road into rapid flashes of light and darkness. The woman screamed as the radio burst to life, static screaming louder than any human voice. Jenna felt a sudden rush of memories that weren't hers. A truck swerving too late, a mother crying out for her son, a man begging for one more chance. Each memory ended the same way: darkness, water, silence. She staggered, clutching her head as the flood of stolen lives threatened to tear her apart. "Stop," she screamed. The girl stepped closer. "This is how you learn," she said softly. "This is how you become convincing." The rehook hit Jenna with sickening clarity. The road wasn't just trapping people, it was training its ghosts. Jenna looked back at the couple, desperation burning in her hollowing chest. She forced herself to meet the woman's eyes and mouthed the words with everything she had left. "Run." For a split second, the woman seemed to understand. Her face paled. She grabbed the driver's arm. Then Jenna felt it, the final pull. Her feet lifted from the ground as her body lightened, water streaming upward instead of down. Her reflection shimmered faintly in the car's hood, blurred, distorted, no longer fully human. The girl's hand closed around hers. "Not yet," she whispered. "You still have one choice left." The couple screamed as the road split open beneath their car, and Jenna felt herself being dragged toward the place where all the screams began. The ground split open. Jenna fell forward as the clearing dissolved beneath her feet, the mist tearing apart like ripped fabric. The screams of the trapped souls echoed around her, stretching unnaturally as if pulled through something alive. She tried to grab onto one of them, but her hand passed straight through, cold rushing up her arm like ice water. Then everything stopped. She stood alone again. The road had returned. Whispering Hollow Road stretched endlessly in both directions, darker than before, its surface slick and black like wet skin. The trees leaned inward, their branches now twisted into shapes that looked disturbingly like reaching arms. Jenna's heart sank as she realized something terrifying. The road wasn't a place. It was an entity. "You understand now." The girl appeared in front of her, no longer dripping water. She looked clear or solid, but wrong in a way Jenna couldn't explain. Her eyes were no longer hollow. They were deep, endless pools of darkness. "You don't kill them," Jenna said, her voice shaking. "You trap them." The girl nodded slowly. "Fear brings them in, hope keeps them here." Jenna clenched her fists. "Why me?" The girl tilted her head. "Because you didn't turn back." The road pulsed beneath Jenna's feet, almost like a heartbeat. Memories flooded her mind, flashes of other drivers, other screams, other desperate attempts to escape. Every single one had believed they were different, smarter, braver. The road fed on that belief. "You need us," Jenna realized. "The spirits." "The fear, yes," the girl said simply, "and eventually replacements." The rehook hit Jenna like a knife. "You're not trapped forever," she whispered. "You get replaced." The girl smiled for the first time. "Someone always takes your place." Headlights appeared in the distance. A car, fresh, bright, alive. Jenna spun around, her chest tightening as she watched it approach the bend. A young couple sat inside, laughing, unaware. The road straightened for them, welcoming, almost friendly. "No," Jenna said, backing away. "I won't help you." The girl's voice softened. You already are. The whispers returned louder now, urging her forward. The road beneath her shifted, guiding her steps. Jenna felt herself moving toward the center line despite fighting every inch. You can warn them, the girl whispered. Or you can watch. The car slowed. The headlights locked onto Jenna. The driver frowned, concern crossing his face. Hey, he called through the open window. Are you okay? Jenna opened her mouth, and nothing came out. The road tightened around her throat, silencing her completely. She felt her body grow heavier, colder, her skin dampening as water pooled at her feet. The girl stepped beside her. Welcome home, she said. Jenna felt the road claim her breath, and the car doors began to open. Jenna woke up choking. Cold water filled her mouth and lungs as she thrashed blindly, her body screaming for air. She coughed violently, rolling onto her side as muddy water spilled from her lips. The ground beneath her was hard and uneven, soaked through with moisture that seeped into her clothes. She was alive. That thought hit her with such force that she laughed and cried at the same time. Her hands dug into the dirt as she pushed herself upright, gasping. A faint gray light hung in the air, not quite night, not quite morning. The road was gone. No asphalt, no trees lining a highway. Instead, Jenna found herself in a wide clearing surrounded by towering silhouettes that looked like trees but didn't move with the wind. They stood frozen, bent at unnatural angles, their bark split and hollow like something had clawed its way out from inside. Hello, she called, her voice echoed, but not normally. It returned warped, stretched, layered with other voices that didn't belong to her. Figures emerged from the mist. At first, Jenna thought they were shadows. Then she realized they were people, men. Women, teenagers, all standing in clusters, their faces pale and tired, their eyes sunken with exhaustion and fear. Some wore modern clothes. Others looked decades out of place, dressed in styles Jenna had only seen in old photographs. One of them stepped forward. You shouldn't have stopped, he said softly. Jenna staggered back. Where am I? The man gave a sad smile. Where everyone ends up. She felt the truth settle into her bones before he said the words she already feared. Whispering hollow doesn't kill you, he continued. It keeps you. A woman approached, her face streaked with dried tears. The road feeds on fear, she whispered. On curiosity, on people who think they can leave. Jenna's chest tightened. So we're dead, the woman shook her head. Not yet. That was somehow worse. The mist thickened, swirling faster now, and Jenna noticed something horrifying. Every single person here was wet, soaked, as if pulled from water again and again. The girl, Jenna said suddenly. The hitchhiker, who is she? The group fell silent. The man's expression darkened. The first. He told her the story in broken pieces. A young girl who drowned decades ago when the road was new. A construction accident covered up. A body lost beneath the earth. Her fear soaked into the land, warping it, feeding it, and the road grew hungry. She brings you in, the man said. But the road decides who stays. A low rumble shook the clearing. The mist parted, revealing a shape rising in the distance, something massive, twisting, alive. The ground beneath Jenna's feet vibrated as whispers turned into screams. The girl's voice echoed from everywhere at once. Someone new has arrived. The figures around Jenna began to fade, and the clearing started to collapse. The car rolled to a dead stop. No engine, no headlights, no radio, just darkness. Jenna's hands remained locked on the steering wheel long after the silence swallowed the last echo of the engine. Her breath came in broken gasps, fogging the windshield in front of her. The smell of damp earth grew stronger, seeping into the car as if the forest itself were crawling inside. Slowly, she opened her eyes. The dashboard was dead. Not a single light glowed. Outside, the trees pressed in from all sides, their shapes barely visible in the thick darkness. The road had vanished beneath the black, as though it had never existed at all. Behind her, something shifted. The sound was wet, heavy, close. Jenna didn't turn around. Please, she whispered, her voice cracking. I didn't mean to come here. A soft chuckle answered her. You all say that. The girl's voice was no longer gentle. It carried weight now layered, as if more voices were speaking beneath it. Jenna squeezed her eyes shut, tears slipping down her cheeks. I'll leave, she said. I swear, just let me go. The car door creaked open. Cold air rushed in, carrying the scent of rot and rain. Jenna felt the weight lift from the back seat as the girl stepped out. For a fleeting moment, hope sparked in her chest. Then the passenger door opened. Jenna screamed. The girl slid into the seat beside her, impossibly close. Her skin was ice cold where it brushed against Jenna's arm. Water pooled on the floor at their feet, spreading outward like a living thing. This road doesn't need permission, the girl said calmly. It takes. The forest came alive. Whispers rose from every direction, swelling into a low, constant murmur. Shadows moved between the trees, figures without faces, watching, waiting. Jenna's chest tightened as realization crashed over her. She wasn't the first. She wouldn't be the last. A faint glow appeared ahead, barely visible through the darkness. Jenna leaned forward, desperate. It looked like headlights, another car. Another person, someone's coming, she cried. They can help, the girl followed her gaze. Her smile widened. They always come, she said. That's how the road feeds. The glow vanished. The whispers grew louder. Jenna felt the world tilt as the car began to sink, not into the ground, but into the darkness itself. The windows fogged, then cracked, thin lines spiderwebbing across the glass. The last thing Jenna saw was the girl's hollow eyes, now filled with something dark and endless. Then the road swallowed them whole. By morning, Whispering Hollow Road was empty again. No car, no signs of struggle. No trace Jenna had ever been there. Just another story added to the warnings no one ever listens to. Jenna's scream tore through the car. She spun around in her seat, her heart slamming so violently it felt like it might burst straight through her chest. The back seat was dim, barely touched by the headlights spilling through the windshield, but it was enough. Someone was there. Water soaked the fabric, dripping onto the floor in slow, steady taps. The air inside the car smelled damp, like rain and cold earth. Jenna's breath came in shallow gasps as her eyes adjusted, her mind desperately searching for a logical explanation. There was none. The girl sat perfectly upright, hands folded in her lap. Her dress clung to her thin frame, darker now, heavy with water. Strands of hair hung over her face, but Jenna could see her eyes, those same hollow, empty eyes staring straight ahead. Not at Jenna, at the road. I didn't stop, Jenna whispered, tears burning in her eyes. I didn't let you in. The girl's head tilted slowly, unnaturally, as if her neck didn't quite work the way it should. You didn't have to, she said. Her voice was soft, almost gentle. That made it worse. Jenna's hands shook so badly she could barely keep the car steady. The speedometer climbed, the engine whining as she pushed it harder, desperate to outrun what sat behind her. Please, Jenna begged. I can take you somewhere, just tell me where. The girl's lips curled into something that might have been a smile. This is where it always ends. The radio exploded with static, drowning out Jenna's scream. Voices poured through the speakers, dozens of them, overlapping, whispering, crying, warning. Names filled the car, spoken in hushed, broken tones. Names of people who had driven this road before her. None of them had survived. The road ahead twisted sharply, forcing Jenna to slow down. The trees leaned closer, their branches scraping the roof like claws. The headlights flickered again, plunging the car into brief flashes of darkness. Each time the light returned, the girl was closer. First, she was still in the back seat. Then she was leaning forward. Then her breath brushed against Jenna's ear, cold, wet, and smelling of decay. Don't look away, the girl whispered. Jenna squeezed her eyes shut, sobbing as she fought the wheel. Her thoughts scattered, panic consuming every rational part of her mind. She couldn't stop. She couldn't slow down. All she could do was pray the road would end. A sign appeared ahead. Whispering Hollow Road, 1 mile relief surged through Jenna's chest so fast it almost hurt. 1 mile, just one more mile and she'd be free. She laughed hysterically, tears streaming down her face. I'm almost out, she cried. You can't keep me here, the girl laughed too, a sound like water filling empty lungs. Jenna felt icy fingers wrap slowly around her shoulders, squeezing tighter with every second. You don't leave, the girl whispered. Everyone stays. The engine sputtered, the headlights went out, and the car began to slow on its own. For a moment, Jenna forgot how to breathe. The girl stood perfectly still in the middle of the road, her bare feet planted on the cold asphalt as if she had been waiting there for years. Jenna's headlights washed over her pale skin, making it look almost translucent. Water dripped from the hem of her dress, forming small, dark puddles that spread slowly across the pavement. Jenna's hands trembled as she kept them locked on the steering wheel. Hey, she called out, her voice shaking despite her effort to sound calm. Are you okay? The girl didn't respond. Her head hung low, long hair clinging to her face like seaweed. Jenna couldn't see her eyes, and that somehow made everything worse. The silence stretched, heavy and suffocating, broken only by the ticking of the cooling engine and Jenna's own ragged breathing. Every instinct screamed at her to drive away, but guilt anchored her in place. What if the girl was hurt? What if she'd been in an accident? Whispering Hollow Road was dangerous enough without leaving someone stranded in the dark. Jenna swallowed her fear and slowly opened the car door. The hinges creaked loudly, the sound echoing unnaturally through the trees. The girl's head twitched, just slightly. Jenna froze, one foot still inside the car. Her heart slammed against her ribs as she forced herself to speak again. I can help you. Do you need a ride?" The girl lifted her head. Jenna's stomach dropped. Her eyes were hollow, sunken deep into her skull, reflecting the headlights like dull glass. They didn't move, they didn't blink. They simply stared, unseeing and endless, straight through Jenna. A wave of dread washed over her, cold and paralyzing. The radio crackled. "Don't let her in," Jenna whipped her head toward the dashboard, panic flooding her veins. When she looked back, the girl was closer now, far closer than she had been seconds ago. No footsteps, no sound, just closer. Jenna stumbled backward, slamming the car door shut and locking it with shaking hands. The girl raised one arm slowly, her fingers bent at impossible angles, skin stretched too tightly over bone. Her mouth opened. But no sound came out. The headlights flickered. For a split second, the road went dark. When the lights steadied again, the girl was standing directly beside Jenna's window. Her face pressed inches from the glass, water streaking down like tears. Jenna screamed, scrambling to start the car, her fingers slipping on the key. The engine coughed, once, twice. The girl's mouth moved, forming words Jenna couldn't hear, but somehow understood. "Take me home." The engine roared to life. Jenna slammed the gas pedal to the floor. The car lurched forward, the girl vanishing from view as the road swallowed her up. Jenna didn't look back, she didn't slow down, she didn't even blink as the forest blurred past her windows. Her chest burned, her vision swam. Just a little farther, she told herself, just get off this road. Then she glanced into her rearview mirror. The back seat was wet, and someone was sitting there. Jenna's foot eased off the accelerator, her pulse hammering so loudly she could hear it over the engine. "Hello," she said, her voice barely louder than a breath. The radio answered with another burst of static, sharper this time, like something tearing through the speakers. The sound rose and fell, uneven and distorted, before settling into a low hiss. Jenna swallowed hard. Radios didn't whisper names. They definitely didn't whisper her name. She shook her head, forcing a laugh that sounded fake even to her own ears. "You're imagining things," she muttered, turning the volume knob down. The hiss faded but didn't disappear completely, lingering like a presence that refused to leave. The road curved again, tighter than before. Jenna realized she hadn't seen a single sign in miles. No mile markers, no warnings, no indication she was getting closer to the end. Just trees, endless, suffocating trees. Their trunks stood packed together so tightly that the darkness between them looked solid, as if something could be hiding there, watching her pass. The wind picked up suddenly, slamming against the car and rattling the windows. Leaves scraped along the doors with a shrill, grating sound. Jenna flinched, her grip tightening until her knuckles burned. Then the radio crackled again. This time it was clearer. "Don't stop," Jenna's breath caught in her throat. She slapped the radio off completely. Silence flooded the car, but it wasn't comforting. Without the engine's hum and the faint whistle of wind, the quiet felt unnatural, heavy, like the world itself was holding its breath. She pressed harder on the gas. The speedometer climbed, but the road seemed to stretch farther with every second, refusing to end. Shadows flickered at the edge of her vision. Shapes appeared and vanished between the trees, too tall, too thin, gone the moment she tried to focus on them. Her chest tightened. "This is stupid," she told herself. "You're letting stories get to you." But even as she thought it, doubt crept in. Every local warning she'd ever heard replayed in her mind. People who drove Whispering Hollow Road and were never seen again. Cars found abandoned. Engines cold. Doors open. The radio exploded back to life. Jenna screamed. The volume blasted at full strength, static shrieking through the speakers. Beneath it, a voice pushed through, closer now, clearer, dripping with something that sounded like desperation. "Turn back," her hands shook as she fought the steering wheel, heart racing out of control. She tried to turn the radio off again, but the buttons didn't respond. The voice grew louder, overlapping itself, as if more than one mouth was speaking at once. "Stop it," she shouted, slamming her palm against the dashboard. Suddenly, the road ahead dipped sharply. Her headlights swept over the asphalt and caught something standing dead center in her lane. Jenna slammed on the brakes. The car screeched, tires screaming in protest as it skidded forward, stopping just feet away from the figure illuminated in her headlights. A girl stood there, unmoving, pale, soaked, hair hanging in long, wet strands over her face. And she wasn't blinking. Jenna had never been the cautious type. If there was a line that everyone else hesitated to cross, she was usually the first one stepping over it, smiling, daring the world to stop her. That reputation followed her everywhere, especially among her friends, who loved testing just how fearless she really was. So when the challenge came, wrapped in nervous laughter and half-serious warnings, Jenna didn't even pause to think. Drive Whispering Hollow Road, alone. The name alone was enough to make the room go quiet. Locals avoided that road after dark. Some refused to say its name out loud. Others claimed it swallowed people whole, cars and all, without leaving behind a single trace. Jenna had heard the stories, of course. Everyone had, but stories were just stories, right? She grabbed her keys before anyone could talk her out of it. The night she chose was as dark as it could possibly be. No moon, no stars, just a sky stretched flat and empty overhead. As her car rolled onto Whispering Hollow Road, the world beyond her headlights seemed to vanish. The beams cut through the darkness like thin blades, barely strong enough to keep the shadows at bay. Tall trees crowded both sides of the road, their twisted branches leaning inward as if the forest itself was watching her arrival. The farther she drove, the narrower the road became, winding and curling with no streetlights, no houses, no signs, nothing to suggest another human being had passed through recently. The wind whispered through the leaves, producing a low, uneven murmur that didn't sound natural. Jenna shook her head, trying to laugh it off, but a chill crept up her spine anyway. She turned the radio on for comfort. Nothing, just static. That struck her as strange. The radio had worked perfectly minutes ago. She fiddled with the dial, but the silence remained, thick and oppressive. The road twisted again, sharper this time, and her headlights briefly caught something darting at the edge of the trees, too fast to identify. "Get a grip," she muttered to herself. Still, her hands tightened on the steering wheel. Whispering Hollow Road felt endless, like it was looping back on itself, each curve leading to another stretch of identical darkness. The sense of isolation pressed in on her chest. For the first time, she wondered why so many travelers were said to have vanished here, why none of them ever came back. Then, without warning, the radio crackled. A distorted sound leaked through the speakers, low and broken, almost like a voice struggling to form words. Jenna's breath caught. Her heart began to pound as she leaned closer, trying to understand what she was hearing. And that was when she realized something was very, very wrong, because the radio wasn't just making noise, it was whispering her name.